Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and I am back from CEWeek in New York City. It's a mid-year gathering in the Big Apple for consumer electronics brands and journalists and members of the public, and I found 7 examples of some interesting things that I thought you all might find interesting too, so I figured I would share them with you, and hopefully we'll get a few of these products in to review in more detail. And the first item I wanted to show you was something from Kodak called the Pixpro. Now, we looked at a Pixpro camera at CES about a year and a half ago or so, and that was a yellow camera that was essentially like a 1080p camera. They now have a 4K version that just was announced, and this one is rather interesting because they sell it in a kit of 2. So you get 2 of these little cameras, and you get a full 360-degree dome essentially in both directions, up and down. So you can cover just about every possible angle that someone might want to look at, and you have larger sensors built in also. So I think that is something worth looking at least. And they sell these as a kit, so you can buy 2 cameras in a kit. They give you all the mounts and all the other stuff that you need. So it's actually, I think, a pretty decent deal if you're in the market for something like this, because you don't have to buy a lot of extra accessories. Pretty much everything you're going to need comes with it, including the selfie stick. They have software, of course, built in to do all the stitching, and there's also an editing function to it as well. The way these triggers, they have a remote that comes with that $8.99 package. You push a button on the remote, it will start both cameras simultaneously, but if they don't start exactly at the same time, they do have a means of getting the clips aligned automatically via audio. So there is some capability to get everything kind of lined up for editing and have everything sync up properly. So I'm sure it would look kind of weird to have the top half of your dome a little bit off from the bottom half. So they cover all that synchronization built in. It works with YouTube and Facebook, so all of the services that support those 360-degree videos should work with this as well. Really interesting. I'm eager to check it out. I was actually pretty pleased with the video quality that they showed me, but we'll have to see how it looks when we really get one in to do the real proper test of it. I also saw the Vitrima, which was rather interesting. It's not quite an electronic device per se, but it connects to one. This is an Indiegogo campaign that actually has a product already in production. And what this does is it attaches to the front of your GoPro, and it separates the image into 2 stereo pairs, so you get a 3D image. And they had a little Gear VR for me to try out. Looks pretty good. They had a skydiving thing going on. It was not bad. You get a little bit of depth to it. What you get are 2 images recorded onto the video, which YouTube will take or you can set it to automatically recognize it as a 3D file. So there's not a lot of post-processing you have to do with this. You get the 2 stereo pairs, one on each side of the video image, and then you can watch it in 3D with your favorite 3D watching device. So it was nice to see there wasn't a lot of complication in getting this to work. Now, this next company was rather interesting. They're called Invoxia, and they make 2 really cool products that were at the show that I'd never heard of before. The first one is called the Triby, and it's a really nice pastel-colored device. They have a couple different colors available that has a magnet on the back that you can stick to your refrigerator or something else in a common area of the house, and it acts as a message board, but it also has voice over IP capabilities, so you can make phone calls through some IP services or just through your cell phone via Bluetooth. It has Amazon Alexa built in. It's the first device not made by Amazon to have that, so you can talk to it and have it do all the things that Amazon Alexa might support. And what's really neat is the messaging function on it. It's got an e-ink display on board, and you can send messages to that e-ink display, and it pops out a physical flag to notify people in the kitchen that there is a message waiting for them. And when you push the little flag back in, it'll notify your phone that somebody actually read the message, which was kind of neat. So cool little product, actually. Very well built and well constructed. The only gotcha with it is the battery life on it, because of course it needs a battery to run when it's not plugged into anything. So you only get a couple of days out of it when the Alexa feature is enabled. You get a longer battery life when you have it turned off. So I think they said like 2 weeks when the Alexa is off, a couple days when it's on. So you might want to position it somewhere near an outlet so you can keep it running all the time. It was the only thing that I found with it that was a little bit of a gotcha, but I'm going to hopefully try it out in a little bit. They also had another thing called the Voice Bridge, which is a device that allows you to plug your regular telephone landline, if you still have one, into the box, and then you can use their app and use that landline anywhere in the world. And I thought that was going to be interesting perhaps to people who travel a lot, because you can have people call your home phone number and have it ring on your cell phone through their app wherever you are in the world. And if you are getting hit with a lot of expensive international fees from your carrier, or you're trying to avoid making international calls when you're calling back home, you can use this and the app and kind of call through your local phone network, which I thought was pretty neat. And then I was at a party at B&H Photo and Video, and I met the folks from Aiptek, And they have a couple of nice little projectors, including a tiny little one. I didn't get a lot of footage of it, but it's a little square, and it really does a nice job even in lighted areas of displaying something from your phone. If you have an iPhone, it works over AirPlay, or you can plug in something via HDMI. Looked pretty cool and a little on the pricey side. I think it was like $300 or $400, but it actually worked. And I've seen a lot of these cheap little Pico projectors that don't work all that great. So again, they have a stackable computer and projector also that runs with an Atom processor. It has a little touchscreen at the top, and it has a bunch of components that stack up underneath it. Right now, they just have a power component and the projector component in addition to the computer component, but I think they have plans for other ones also. It just looked like a really cool little computer, especially if you want something that's like an all-in-one computer projector. This one will do it for you, and of course, it's running with Windows 10. And I also ran into the folks from Lenovo who had a couple of interesting things that were worth mentioning. The first is their Mix 310, which is a $300 detachable, one of those Atom Cherry Trail based devices, and pretty nicely built actually. It's going to perform about where most of the other Cherry Trail devices perform, but if you're looking for something a little bit more rugged perhaps than what you might have seen at your local department store, this one might be worth making the additional investment in. So we'll definitely be taking a look at that one when it comes out. They had a new gaming laptop which wasn't yet ready, but it is running with a 980M GeForce GPU, so a little bit faster than the one we looked at a few months ago. Has a really nice wrist rest on it too. I didn't get a shot of it, but we'll probably take a look at that one when it comes out. It looked like a big monster. And they also had something called the Phab 2, and this is a new mobile phone that is the first to integrate Google Tango, and it's a really interesting spatial awareness hardware and software combo that allows really interesting uses of augmented reality. So you can see in the demo there that they were stacking virtual dominoes up on a couch, and it really kept them locked into position. So you can move your phone around, and it really made it look like it should if you were actually looking at it through the phone. So I was really quite impressed with that. They also had a demo app from Lowe's where you can put appliances in your room and see what they're going to look like before you buy them, and it locks the appliance in the right spot. You can move it around, you can move around it, and they also had some ways to measure things with the phone too, which I thought was really interesting. So a lot of cool stuff on the way, and hopefully we'll get some of these things in to take a look at when they're available. I also ran into Seagate at the show, and they have two external hard drives that I thought were worthy of mention, and the first one is called the Innovate. This came out a few months ago, but I hadn't seen it before. Really nice hardware design just looking at it, but it also works in a very different way. So this is an 8 terabyte external hard drive running with a desktop size hard drive, yet it doesn't require a power brick. It is completely powered by the USB bus and has a USB Type-C connector on it. And the one thing that does require more power is getting that drive spun up, and what they've done to get over that issue is they put a battery inside to kind of work like a starter engine to get the hard drive spun up, and then it's powered by the USB bus, and I guess the battery is charged also by the bus power while it's operating. So really cool drive if you want to get away from power bricks. This is one way to do it while not sacrificing overall storage. They also had a regular external hard drive that has a built-in USB hub. It is called the Backup Plus hub, and it allows you to plug in 2 USB devices in the front, and it provides power to those USB devices also, even if the computer you're plugged into is off. So if you want to charge a phone off of it or something, you can do that. And I see a lot of utility for this in devices like our little PCs on sticks that don't have a lot of power to their USB ports. This is an external drive that's of course self-powered, and it has a powered USB hub. So you can connect some additional devices to your low-powered computer and get them all working along with a lot of storage as well, which I thought was definitely pretty cool. And we saw something called the Tado, and I hadn't heard of this one before either. And we've looked at some of the, or tried to look at some of the smart thermostat products before, but they didn't work with my house, so I never got them going. But this one is rather simple. So if you have an air conditioner that has a remote control, this will connect to it just by making it work with the infrared. So you don't have to install anything. You can just put this thing on the wall and plug it into something, and as long as it's within sight of your air conditioner and it's on your Wi-Fi, you can control it remotely. You can program it to work at different times. You can have it turn on when you get to the house and turn off when you leave. It works with Alexa and soon Apple HomeKit, as well as If This Then That too. So I just thought this was cool. I really hadn't thought about this kind of thing before, but I could actually use one down here in the studio because I have a LG heat pump air conditioner that has just a remote control and no programmability to it. So it'd be nice to have that added feature. So we're going to take a look at that hopefully in a few weeks when we get a review loaner in for that too. So lots of cool stuff over at CEWeek this week. I thought I would share what I found with you, and when we get these items in, we'll put them through their paces and do a little bit more of an in-depth thing. But I'd love to hear from you what you thought of what I found and whether or not you thought it was interesting. So do let me know in the comments below. This is Lon.TV, and thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.